Hey guys, Brian Zank for Carlingford Music Centre, and today we are taking a look at this pre-owned, pre-loved 1988 vintage 610 Taylor guitar. So if you're someone who loves vintage guitars but you just don't have the money to splurge out on a vintage Martin or Gibson, this Taylor 610 may just have a worthy spot in your vintage guitar collection. So let's take a look around the guitar. So this 610 features a Sitka Spruce top that has aged beautifully over the last 30 years. You can see it has that beautiful warm yellow hue and tinge to it that's very typical to vintage guitars that have been aging for a long time. It has maple back and sides, maple binding, ebony bridge, ebony fretboard, a mahogany neck. It has Taylor's headstock design with the truss rod cap at the top and a tortoiseshell pickguard as well. So at first glance, this is a very traditional looking dreadnought guitar. It's very reminiscent of some of Gibson's guitars and Martin guitars, Guild guitars from the 40s, 50s, 60s and 70s. And it's a very traditional sounding dreadnought guitar. Of course, over the 30 years, it's opened up very nicely, so volume is definitely not going to be a problem. The bass has really opened up, so it's very booming and, dare I say it, very piano-like. But one of the surprising things about this dreadnought guitar compared to other dreadnoughts is that the mid-ranges and the trebles are very warm, and that's got something to do with, I think, Taylor's craftsmanship and the way that it's built. Back in 1988, Taylor were looking to be just as progressive, contemporary and futuristic as they are now. You know, when Bob Taylor, the CEO and founder of Taylor Guitars, decided to adopt the dreadnought shape, he didn't just want to build another dreadnought. He wanted to build a dreadnought that would be accessible to all players. And this was around the time that electric guitars were starting to take over the world. So what he did was take the electric guitar neck, or something similar, like a Fender Strat and Telecaster neck, and he brought it over to his acoustic guitars. So this neck profile is still very much like the Taylor guitars that you get in 2022. It's very thin, a bit small. It's not big and chunky like some Guild guitars or Martin guitars, and the gloss finish has kind of worn off a little bit over the last 30 years, so it's not as sticky as a brand new gloss guitar. So it's just really easy to play, and despite its big body shape, it's very easy to get your hands around, moving from the 1st fret down to the 14th fret where the body meets the neck. It's very easy. The action's quite low without any buzzing. So of course, bluegrass players, flat pickers who really like to dig in and, you know, bend strings, you'll have an absolute field day. But fingerstyle players and finger pickers, I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised as to just how orchestral and well balanced this guitar sounds. And that's not something you can say about dreadnought guitars, because generally dreadnought guitars of all eras are certainly very bass dominant, but they lack a bit of tonality and balance around the mid and high ranges. There's a sparkle and warmth to the high range and the higher strings, and even when you get up to the 12th and 13th fret, everything just seems to be working in tandem, works together. And I think that speaks volumes of Taylor's philosophy over the last 30 or 40 years. They weren't just looking to build another guitar. They wanted a guitar that, yes, this is a guitar that bluegrass and flat pickers will go, yep, this is me, but fingerstyle players can go, all right, I'll give this a go. Maybe I'll want to try something different and I'll like it. And bear in mind, there was a time that fingerstyle players played dreadnought guitars as their number one choice. People like Doc Watson, Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac, even Tommy Emmanuel, and the great modern fingerstyle innovator Michael Hedges. He played a big dreadnought Martin as his primary choice. So, you know, it's certainly not a guitar that is just shoehorned to bluegrass and flat pickers. I think anyone can enjoy a vintage guitar. You just got to get your hands on it and start playing it and find your way of playing it. Don't just think, oh, I got to start playing bluegrass stuff and flat pick it. Play anything you want, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised and you'll have a great time playing this regardless of what play you are. So It's nice to step back in time and look at a guitar that is a little bit softly spoken, a little bit simpler. It doesn't have all the bling and all the bevels and inlays that these modern guitars have, but dare I say it, there's a lot of beauty in ordinary things, and is that what life is all about? Alright, so if you want to get your hands on this guitar along with many other guitars, great guitars from big name companies like Maton, Cole Clark, and to smaller companies like BSG, and even some great vintage guitars, please visit carlingfordmusiccentre.com.au. The website will be down here and in the description box below. Subscribe to the channel so you'll never ever miss another guitar demo or review like this. Pop in if you live in Sydney, come visit the store, try out all the guitars, have a great time, and we'll see you in the next video.